A lot of people want to know, what are the chances that I will book my audition? If I have an audition tomorrow, how likely am I to book it? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video, and I'm going to share with you my booking percentage over the hundreds and hundreds of auditions that I've done. The number may surprise you. What's up, my fellow actors? Welcome to the Acting Career Center, here to help you learn the skills you need to break into the film and television industry. My name is Kurt Yu. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If this is your first time here, make sure to subscribe to this channel to get more videos on acting, auditioning, and career advice every single week. Today, we're talking about how likely we are to book an audition. If you have an audition for a movie or a TV show or a Netflix show or anything, what are the chances that you will book it? Well, the answer to this question, like so many other questions in this industry, is it depends. It depends on many factors. For example, how many actors are auditioning for the part? If there are 3 actors auditioning for the role, well, I'd say you have a decent chance. But if there are 300 actors auditioning for it, well, now your chances are a lot slimmer. Also, how close do you match the character description? If the writer or the director has it in their heads that the character is exactly your height and exactly your complexion and your hair color and your eye color and your body type and everything, well, then you probably have a better shot than some of the other actors who don't fit the description as well. In the industry, we call this being right for the part. Every actor has certain characteristics that makes us right for some parts and wrong for other parts. A lot of these are physical characteristics that we can't change. You might be too tall for some parts. You might be too short for other parts. I might be too old for some parts. I might be too young for other parts. And because this is show business, attractiveness does come into play as well. It's possible to be not good looking enough for some parts. But guess what? It's also possible to be too good looking for other parts. Yeah, that happens too. I didn't book the role of James Bond? I must be too good looking. Another factor that can either help or hurt your chances of getting the part is the rest of the cast. Remember that they are casting a project, not just one part. So your part needs to be able to fit within the story along with the other characters. It doesn't just exist out in a vacuum by itself. So it needs to be able to fit in the story with all those other people who are playing those characters. And if it happens to fit well, then you got a better chance of being cast. If you don't happen to fit well, then your chances are slimmer. Let me give you an example. I was helping out with a casting session one time, and after the auditions were done, the casting director and the director put all the headshots of their top choices up on the wall. They taped them to the wall just so they could see all the actors' faces next to each other. This happens all the time. Now, in this particular movie, there were 2 roles for cops. One was a sheriff and one was a deputy. Now, for the sheriff's part, there was one actor who everybody really liked, and he was their top choice. For the deputy's part, everybody had it narrowed down to 2 actors, and they liked them both equally. One was a male and one was a female. Now, ultimately, they decided that because the actor who they wanted for the sheriff was a male, they wanted to go with a female deputy because they wanted to show more of a contrast between those 2 characters. So they ended up casting the female deputy, and the male actor didn't get the part. Now, that male actor didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he made it all the way to the top 2. He didn't get the part because there was something that was completely outside of his control. So I hope everything we just talked about helps you understand that there are many factors that go into a casting decision. It can be very complex. And a lot of these factors we have very little control over as the actors. So that's why it's really hard to say for any specific audition how likely we are to get the part. I'm sure you've noticed by now that I haven't mentioned anything about your performance yet. I've waited till the end to talk about this for a reason. Of course, your actual audition plays a big role in whether or not you get cast. But because of all of those other things that we just talked about, all of those other factors that we don't have any control over, it's important to understand that a great audition doesn't guarantee that you will book the role. In fact, you could do everything right. You could be the best actor who read for that part, and there's still a chance that you don't get cast. This is the reality of the industry, and this is the reality of the life of an actor. Now, I'm not telling you this to discourage you. Not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm telling you this to encourage you. Because so many actors, when they find out they didn't book something, they start wallowing around in self-pity and start doubting themselves and asking, what did I do wrong? Well, maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe they just needed someone taller. Maybe they needed someone older. Or maybe they just needed someone of a different ethnicity entirely. What can you do about that? So we as actors, we need to stop beating ourselves up over failed auditions, because the truth is we have no idea what are the determining factors for any particular casting. There are infamous stories of directors rejecting certain actors simply because those actors remind them of their ex. What can you do in that situation, right? So don't take it personally, and definitely don't think that your career is over if you don't book one particular job. If you're just getting started and you go out on your first handful of auditions and you don't book any of them, and you're thinking, oh man, I just went on all these auditions and I didn't book a single one, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I should quit. Don't quit. Please don't quit. Keep at it. Keep pushing forward, because just because you didn't book your first few auditions, that has no bearing on what your future success might be. Are you ready to hear what my booking percentage is? My booking percentage right now in 2020, 12 years into my acting career, as a working actor, I book about 10% of my auditions. 10%. That means 90% of the time when I get an audition, I don't book it. But guess what? 10% is actually a really good percentage. I'm doing really well with that percentage, trust me. Look me up on IMDb. Look at all the credits I have on IMDb and everything that I've done. That is a guy who books 10% of his auditions. So if you book just 1 in 10 auditions in your career, you can have a pretty successful acting career. And for me, 10% is the average over time, over hundreds and hundreds of auditions. There have been some hot streaks, and there have definitely been some dry spells. In fact, 2 years ago, I had a streak of 37 straight auditions without booking a single one. 37! That was just 2 years ago. That was someone 10 years into his acting career who had already been on dozens and dozens of movies and television shows, and still went 37 straight auditions without booking a single one. So I hope this actually encourages you, because if you're just getting started and you don't book your first 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 auditions, that doesn't necessarily mean that you won't see success in the future. So please don't quit. Please don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Now, with all of that being said, how good your audition is still does matter. Just because there are some factors that are out of our control doesn't mean we should just leave it all up to chance. We said before that a great audition doesn't guarantee that you will book the part, but a bad audition does guarantee that you won't book the part. So make sure you are 1000% prepared for your auditions. Practice, practice, practice your auditions. You gotta get better at auditioning. Remember that auditioning is a completely separate skill than acting. Knowing how to act is one thing. Knowing how to audition is a whole nother thing. So practice how to audition. If you can get into an audition class, even better. But learn how to audition and get better at the process of auditioning, and then you can maybe inch by inch get that booking percentage better and better. Now, if you're interested in learning my 10-step audition preparation process that has helped me book all of the movies and television shows that I've worked on, then I've created a free audition cheat sheet that you can download by going to that link right there. Alright, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and I hope to see you on set one day.